Recording. All right, welcome to the Team Inspire Beautiful team call. It is Wednesday. I know our team calls have kind of been a little bit wonky this summer, but that's just kind of how life goes. But I'm so excited because we have Hannah speaking to us tonight. My housekeeping is going to be super short, super sweet, especially because we had our Run Wild team call last night. So it's just going to kind of be a recap of that, and then we will dive into the meat of the call and get to listen and learn from another leader in the network. So, a couple housekeeping. You have promo codes. You should be talking about them constantly. You might see me, some other teachers, I got this idea from Megan, another team, like back to school sale, like use what you know, use it to your advantage, really talk about this and use this as a great opportunity to follow up. Even if you talk to them in July, it's a new month, it's a fresh month. And if you have that controlled business center, you have six promo codes to use. Okay, so don't miss out on this. I know a couple girls in our push group, they are doing like a competition, an invite competition this week to see who can clear their codes first. And then we're going to do like a little prize, little giveaway. Buddy up with somebody, send each other Starbucks at the end of the week. Like if you guys do something, okay, make this fun because that's what this job should be. This job should be fun. We're changing lives. And these promo codes are a great way to reach even more women. Don't forget that Mackenzie and Danielle are offering that adorable pop socket to anybody who hits Success Club 10 and above, the Girl Gang pop socket. And then if you are on my team, one of my personally sponsored coaches or theirs down below, you'll receive an extra gift from me for hitting Success Club 10. So lots of incentives this month. Really, you guys, if you kind of haven't felt the vibe, August is a little challenging. It's like the last month of summer, but I don't want that to get in your head. So, we've got these promo codes, we've got these gift incentives, like push, like be very intentional with your time. My August is absolutely crazy. We're traveling a 10, I go back to work. Like, don't use it as an excuse. Use it to be way more intentional and dialed in with your time. And then the last note that I just want to say, and I think this is just a good friendly reminder, whether you're on my team or not, because I know we have a couple other teams on here listening to Hannah, be present in your challenge group, whether you're running it or your upline is, especially if your clients are in it. Be engaging. Make sure that you yourself are posting. Make sure that you're liking other people's things, that you're commenting. Show up as the leader that you are, because especially if you have clients in there, they're not in there really to hear from me. They're in there, to be a part of something bigger and to learn from you and to see kind of you take on that leadership role. So that's just a really good reminder to be that leader that you are. All right, so now I get to welcome Hannah to our call, this beauty. And she started coaching in April of 2018. She's a speech pathologist, which I think she works with kids, which, it's like right up my alley. And she's a diamond coach. And I was like, okay, so tell me like some fun facts about yourself. And she's like, well, I'm the high school sports hall of fame for 3 different sports. So she's an athlete through and through. And then I put on there, she's basically a dolphin, because she told me that when she has a couple drinks in her and she's in a pool, she can imitate a dolphin to a T. And I was like, girlfriend, we need to hang out and be drunk in a pool together in real life, because that is just everything. And a couple fun facts. It's her birthday tomorrow. So yay, happy birthday. Thank you for taking tonight to speak to us. And I saw that she was drinking some pre out of a wine glass before this call. So this is about to be fire. So with that, I'm just going to stop sharing and pass this right along to you.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, cool. I'm just gonna share my screen. All right, awesome. Can you guys see that? Okay, cool. So first of all, thank you so much for having me on this call. I'm kind of fangirling because I found Janine. Do you ever have that moment where you like find someone on Instagram and you're like, I want this girl on my team, and then you're like, crap, she's already a coach. That was me when I found Janine. I was like, oh, we like vibe so well. Like, I want to be friends with this girl. Like, we just like, I can see that we like similar things. And then I was like, crap, she's already a coach. So I am so honored to be on this coach with you guys tonight. And I want to talk to you guys just about leveling up your leadership, because I feel like this is something in my business recently that I kind of have like dived into more after like going from emerald to diamond, and then really just like stepping up that leadership game and how I went about doing that. Is the chat blowing up? Sorry. Austin Kelly is my husband, and that's, so if you get confused about the name, that's me. Okay. So a little bit about my story. So as Janine said, I have been an athlete my entire life. I played soccer, softball, and basketball, and I skied. And I played sports all through my entire high school and then into college. And when I went into grad school, I kind of lost the time, I guess you could say, to actually work out. And I lost that drive for having a team and doing my workouts. And so I felt really lost. I had started Insanity. I had started P90X. I had done PiYo. And this was all before Beachbody On Demand. And I just couldn't get into it. And it was right after I graduated from grad school. I don't even remember, 2016, I think I graduated. And I had moved to Maryland, where my boyfriend was living, my now husband. And I had moved to Maryland, and I got this message from my upline coach, Ashley Feldison, in August of 2016. And I was like, who is this girl? Why is she following me on Instagram? Like, I don't know her. We were from the same like area back in New York, and we lived in Maryland. So like, I didn't think anything of it, but it was very weird. And she asked me to join her boot camp. And I was like, no, like, I don't do these things. Like, I'm not one of those girls. So I kind of brushed her off. In between living in Maryland, I had done some half marathon running with one of my really good friends that I met in Maryland. But I still, after the marathon was over, I still like couldn't get back into that like routine of working out again. And so a year went by, we lived in Maryland. My husband, my fiance at the time, had moved to New Jersey, and I still was in like this rut of like up and down, like could not get into a routine. Fast forward a little bit, I moved to New Jersey to live with my fiance. We got married, and we got married in August. And come January of 2018, I had just kind of had enough. You know, I'd done Whole30 before my wedding. I had tried to like get into shape, but after the wedding and after the honeymoon, I just felt like crap. I was trying to modify like every single outfit to like fit me. I was tired of feeling bloated. I would avoid certain dresses, even though I wanted to look really hot and like I wanted people to like be like, damn, that girl at the wedding, you know? But I would change my dress a million times because I wasn't ever comfortable with my legs or my arms, and I wanted sleeves to cover up my arms. And it finally had gotten to a point in January of 2018 that I was like, this is enough. So two other friends and myself decided to do 80-day obsession. And I decided, you know, I was going all in. I did the time nutrition. I did the portion controls. I actually did Whole30 paired with the portion containers just to kind of like take it up a notch. And the funniest part is we split a membership. Like the three of us split like $33 or whatever, $30 for Beachbody On Demand. And I refused to do the shakes. I did not believe in them. I actually tried a couple packets of shakes, and I had a really bad reaction to the whey protein. I was out of work. It made my potassium drop. I was out of work for like 6 weeks. I had to see a neurologist, a cardiologist, all this stuff. So I was very anti-Shakeology. And I went into 80-day, and I was like, all right, I'm probably going to quit after like 30 days. Like, things come up. I can't even make it through 21, but I did. I like got through phase 1, and then I went to phase 2 and then phase 3, and I got amazing results after phase 1. And I just fell in love with the programs and my new routine that I had created for myself. And after finishing 80-day obsession, I remember like feeling amazing, but then I was like, okay, now what? And I drove into work as a speech pathologist. I was in an outpatient facility in New Jersey working I worked like 10-hour days when I lived there. And I remember driving into work being like, is this what my life is? Like, I get up, I work 10 hours, I serve all these other families, and I put everything into these kids with significant like needs. And then I go home and watch The Bachelor at night. And then I go home and watch This Is Us. And then I go home and watch Survivor. Like, I'm like, this cannot be like what God put me on this earth to do. And I love being a speech pathologist, but it wasn't enough for me. I needed more. And I remember that day in April, and I messaged Ashley and I said, tell me about this coaching thing. Mind you, she has been messaging me since August of 2016 to join her boot camps, to be a coach. And I just kept brushing her off. But I always was watching her, you guys. I watched her go on the trips. I watched her get results. I watched her like make all these good friendships. And it just took me that many years to build that trust with her. And I felt like I knew her because I watched her. She was the first circle on my Instagram every single day that I watched. So it just goes to show you, like, even if people are saying no to you now, you're spreading so many breadcrumbs and like building that trust. Like, you have to show up for yourself and build that confidence in yourself, but people have to build that trust with you, especially if they're from your cold market and they have no idea who you are on Instagram. So I had reached out to her in April. I signed up that day. I signed up like while I was at work because I was just in this space of like, I need more. The wedding was over. The honeymoon was over. The moving to New Jersey, making new friends. It was over. And I needed that. It's really hard to make friends in a big city. I don't know if any of you guys live in big cities, but when you move and you're like 20 something years old, people have like these lives of, some people have kids, some people are still single, some are engaged, some are married. And it's really hard to meet friends. And I'm a very like outgoing person, but it's so hard. And that's kind of what I needed with Beachbody. I needed more. I needed the team. I needed that accountability. I wanted more of those friendships. So I started coaching in April of 2018 with Ashley. Ashley and I have become amazing friends. I now live in Washington, D.C. with my husband. And he is a Division I college basketball coach. So my why has kind of changed from like wanting more and wanting to have like a team and extra money for my student loans. And it's now become a why of, if he gets a job and we have to move, I want to be able to just take it and go. I don't want to have to worry like I did before when I moved to New Jersey about finding a job. I had to move in with a friend and her husband because I couldn't find a job, and they graciously took me into their house, but I don't want that now. I want to be able to just have this life of freedom. I want options. If I want to do speech pathology, I can do speech pathology, but I just want options. So now I'm a diamond coach and I'm growing my team of my own, and I'm falling in love with this business. I never actually thought I would. I always was like, oh, this is like, I don't know. I just felt like this was a scheme. I didn't have the buy-in. I knew the workouts worked, but I didn't really understand the coaching aspect of things. And now I tell Ashley all the time, and I'm like going to her wedding, like it's just crazy, but I just wish I started sooner. That's my only regret, is that when she asked me like a year ago, and 2 years ago, I wish I had just said yes, but the timing I just felt like wasn't right. And I know everything happens for a reason. So it is the way that it was supposed to be. So that's just a little bit about my story. And let me see if I can go to the next page. Okay. So with leadership, I think one of the biggest things is you have to get your mind right. And this was something that I struggled for a really long time when I first started. With being part of Team Elevate, we have a couple leaders on our team who hit the ground running. And when I hit that 1 year mark in my business and I wasn't yet a diamond, it really hit me hard. I was like, well, those girls are doing it, so what am I doing wrong? And I got to this point in the business where everything was just a comparison game. I was watching other people's stories more than I was sending invites, more than I was posting on my stories, because I got into this tunnel of just the comparison game and saying like, oh, how is she retiring from her teaching job? But I still like am not making enough money to even be close to that. So I think just getting your mind right. And I know in February, I had a really tough time. from February into March, my husband had lost his job because, hey, college basketball, if you don't do well in March Madness, like, you're fired. So my husband had lost his job. I was not showing up to the real me. I did Transform 20, but I was like showing up late to my workouts. I wasn't putting the time for personal development, and people could see that on my social media. People were messaging me. They're like, hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And so with that being said, I didn't hit Success Club in February until the very last day at 11:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because, and I was supposed to go out to dinner on a date night, and I said, you know what, I have to hit Success Club. But it was because I didn't get my mind right. I was all like in this negative space, and it wasn't until I got my mind right that I started to see like just this momentum build with my business again. So I just put this quote by my girl Rach. Comparison is the death of joy. The only person you need to be better than is the one that you were yesterday. And it is completely true. Oops, sorry guys. When I was when I was comparing myself to other people in the business, I started to look at them as like, oh, like maybe I should be making these pictures, or maybe I should be making these posts. And it started out as like they were inspiring me, and then it quickly turned into just this comparison game. And as soon as you do that, guys, you need to unfollow those people like immediately, because you're just going to get down into this black hole of the comparison, and you need to just unfollow. You can follow them later, but you do not watch their stories, because it is just it's such a bad negative space to be in. So I loved it when Rachel said that at our convention. So also, control the controllable. This is a huge thing in our business, and there are so many ups and downs in the business. So I think this is one thing with your teams to really just know that you need to control the controllable. Can you guys drop, because I love like interactive chats, can you guys drop some things that you can control in your business, in your life, and put them in the chat? Nutrition invites. Good. Yep, your workouts. Awesome. Yeah, so those are definitely like the amount of sleep you get at night, what you put into your body, how you show up to your workouts, when you show up, if you're doing personal development, if you're doing those invites, those are all things that you can control. And if you guys aren't taking the time to focus on yourself, A, you're not going to get results, and it's not going to build trust with other people. And B, this is why you started. You started this business for yourself. So you have to show up each and every day to be your best self. You need to be on top of your nutrition. I'm not saying don't have some wine and some cake. Like, I'm going to do that tomorrow. But I'm just saying, like, you have to show up for yourself because you deserve it. And the people who are following you and who you're trying to build this relationship with and help, you have to get that trust, and they deserve it too from you. So those are just some things that you can control. And now in the chat, I want you guys to tell me some things that you cannot control. Others? Yep, exactly. We can't control other people's judgment of what we're doing. People are going to judge us. I've not necessarily lost friends, but people definitely have unfollowed me on social media because of what I'm doing. People have made comments about what we're doing, but it doesn't mean that like we're not friends when I see them. You know, it just, but it's hard. It's hard not to worry about other people's opinions. You can't control whether people say yes to this opportunity. You can't control whether they are ready to start the boot camp or not. So just always in this business, try to stick to the things that you can control, and try to let go of the things that other people are responsible for. Like, you're going to drop rank probably in this business. It just happens. You're going to lose coaches. You're going to add coaches. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. And that was something that was really hard for me when I first started. I'm like, oh, I'm so close to diamond. I hold diamond and then they drop. Then I hold diamond and then they drop. And it happens, you guys. And that's just out of my control. So you really just need to be showing up each and every day as your best self, focusing on those 4 vital behaviors, and just doing what you can do. And then with that being said, I had to do a huge gut check, because I think it's so easy to lie to ourselves and say like, oh yeah, I'm doing that, but you don't really want to admit to it because then it makes you feel like you have to take ownership of like the things that you're not doing. But this was huge for me. I had to sit back and say in February, why was it so hard for me to hit Success Club? It was because in December and January, I just had people coming to me. I was hitting Success Club 10 plus. People were just coming to me. I had that momentum. But when February and March came and I had to hustle, it's because I didn't send those invites 3 months before. So everything that I was doing 3 months from now is a reflection of how my business is going today. So I think just really sitting back and have that reflection of like, am I sending my invites? Am I showing up? Am I doing those 4 vital behaviors every day? And if you're not, that's okay, but you have to come up with a plan and you have to start doing that if you want to be successful in this business. And you guys, this business is not hard. It's easy. You just have to do the things and you have to have consistency built over time. But if you're not doing those things, you're not going to treat this like a business. It's going to be a hobby. And that's fine if that's what you want. But if you want to reap the benefits of a business, you have to treat it like a business. You have to go all in. You can't just put your toes in. You got to just go all in. Okay. Now, the sacrifices for your why. I talked a little bit about this earlier, but your why is going to always change. And for me, that was something in the business that I really didn't get until I got it. When I came into this business and people are like, what's your why? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's my why? You know? And I'm the type of person where I'm very realistic and I don't like to dig deep because it makes me vulnerable. So I'm like kind of like surface sometimes because I don't want to let those emotions out. But I thought when I came into this business that I had to have the same why as my coach. And that's not the case. You can have a completely different why. And as you grow throughout this business, your why is going to change. So when I started, all I wanted was some more friends, a couple bucks to pay off my student loans, to help with like some extra stuff, to get in shape. And now my why is I want a life of freedom. And for a long time, I heard Ashley say, Hannah, you just want a life of freedom. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I am free. Like, what do you mean freedom, you know? And now it like finally hit me. I want options. If I don't want to quit my job as a speech pathologist, that's fine. But if I want to work 2 to 3 days a week and still do what I did my degree for, that's great because I have options. There's not this financial like burden holding me down. And I think with that why, and as your why gets bigger and bigger, the more you go into this business, you really have to sit back and say like, the sacrifices you made when you first started this business are not going to be the same sacrifices that you make now when you're trying to grow that 6-figure income, when you're trying to recruit coaches. So I think for me, when I first started, I was like, oh, I'm going to give up This Is Us on Tuesday nights. That's not enough now. I'm trying to build an empire. I'm trying to build a team of girls who are ready to hustle, and I'm ready to make a 6-figure income. This means I can't go to brunch on Saturdays every Saturday. I can't, like, when I come home after working 10-hour days, I'm going to have to put in those hours of work. Some days may be more than others, but you just have to be able to make those sacrifices and know what you're willing to sacrifice now so that you can live the life that you want to live in 5 to 10 years or whenever you want to hit that benchmark goal. Also, this is my thing. My husband's always like, just do the damn thing, Hannah. Like, stop overthinking it. Like, show up. You know what to do. Stop watching all of these trainings and just do the damn thing. Like, you know what to do. The business activity tracker is straightforward. If we do the business activity tracker every single day, you're going to get momentum. You're going to build. You're going to get followers. And you're going to get that attraction marketing that we want with network marketing on Instagram. But you just have to make sure you're doing all of the things. And for a long time, I was like, why is it so easy for me to get boot campers and challengers, but I can't get coaches? And I had to really like sit back and be like, you don't talk about coaching. You only talk about being a boot camp. You show your workouts every morning. You have a great playlist, but you never talk about coaching. And that kind of was like a light bulb for me. Like, oh, like, people don't even know what I do. I say I hop on a team call, but what is that? That means nothing to anybody. You know, I show my challenge groups. And my husband was like, Hannah, do people know they don't have to post sweaty selfies on Instagram? Because I feel like if I was doing it, I wouldn't want to join you because I feel obligated to post a sweaty selfie. So just really like doing these things and looking at like what your goals are, making sure you're talking about those things, and then always explaining things, because Beachbody is a very foreign world to people. And I think a lot of times it's easy to be like, people know what Beachbody is. Everybody does Beachbody. But people don't. Some people have never heard of Beachbody or understand even what like a challenge group is or a boot camp. When I first heard boot camp, I thought I was going to be doing like CrossFit shit with a tire outside and doing like burpees, and that's not what this is. So just making sure like you're doing the damn thing, but then you're also like talking about what that thing is and going to a deeper level than just like the surface. And then once you guys do this and you start showing up for yourself, you start, doing everything that you need to be doing, and you start building that momentum, you're going to find your people. Your people are going to come. And it takes some time. For a while, I was like, like all these speech pathologists are my people, but they're already doing Beachbody. Like there's all these teachers, but then I got a new coach that came out of nowhere, and I'm like, where'd you come from? And she's like, I just found you. I found you on like a page, and I started following you, and I've been following you since January. And I was like, what do you have? Like, that's weird. I haven't even like reached out to you. And that's bad on my part. I didn't even invite her to anything. And thankfully she reached out to me and was like, I want in on this coaching thing. But I think you just have to build that momentum, you guys, and be that light on social media and just show up and be the true person that you can be. And I know for me, sometimes being in like the medical and education field, it's kind of hard sometimes to show like what my day-to-day life looks like because of, like HIPAA and privacy and like these kids and stuff. And with my husband's career, like I kind of have to be a little bit careful about what I share on social media. But as long as you guys are staying true to yourself and you know who you are and you can show up and have people build that trust with you, you're going to find your people. It just takes time. And you just have to show up consistently day in and day out, because if there's a day that you don't show up, people are going to be like, where is she? Like, what is she doing? Why is she not posting? And then they're going to go to somebody else, so you just have to make sure that you're consistent and you'll find your people. And that's all I have.
Yay, that was so good. I was just about to write in the chat for people to start dropping in questions, and then I can field them too. But that was amazing. I love like the gut check of like the invites that you do now, like ripple out for like 3 months from now, because I had that happen to me early on in my business too, where like the 1 month that I didn't hit Success Club, and I was like, but why? It was because like the first 2 months, everyone was just coming to me, and I didn't have to do anything. And it's so, so true. And doing the damn things, like talking about coaching, but not just surface level, like explaining things. Somebody said at Summit, I think it was like Sammy Glonick, and she was like, you need to talk about coaching like as if you were talking to your grandma, because Beachbody is foreign, like you said. So, so good. Well, you guys know, if you guys have been on calls with me, I will ask like 1,000,010 questions just to kind of hear like how she runs her business. But if you guys have questions, start dropping them in the chat. Can you kind of walk us through like your invite process? Are you the type of person that just like cold invites right out the gate, or do you make relationships first? Kind of what does that look like for coaches and then also like clients too?
So I recently have been so when I first started, everybody was like, do your cold market, do your cold market, do your cold market. I did the opposite. I did my warm market, because I already had that trust built with people, and people were already like, what are you doing? So when I first started, I did all my warm market. Now, I have to say, I invited everybody in my warm market. So that kind of forced me to go into my cold market, and that's kind of where I'm building relationships. Obviously, when I am doing my invites, if anybody who's like inviting on voting on my polls or dropping their email, I'm instantly inviting them. I have learned though, from living in this area and living next to Ashley Feldison, I have talked to like 2 or 3 girls who I did not follow up with, and Ashley followed up with them. Ashley now has 3 new coaches. because she followed up with them, and I completely like forgot because I didn't have a tracking system at the time. Like they slipped through the cracks, and I'm so glad they got on with Ashley because that's amazing. And I'm glad they got into this. But it just goes to show me that like you can't write anybody off. You can't make the decision for them, and you always have to be following up with people. Now, when anybody votes on my poll, I will just send like a straight invite about whatever that poll was about. And if they drop their email, I'm now using Google Streak, and I'm like sending them an email with Google Streak just about the boot camp. And I have a PDF made that just like breaks everything down with a link to my like form for them to fill out. And that has been a huge time saver. I work like 12-hour days. So when I come home, I can't be having like these conversations back and forth all the time. I'm constantly trying to build relationships with people, but the Google Streak has been a game changer. It's organized my business a ton. And I think it's just easier for people to look in their own time and just kind of like figure out the details of the boot camp.
Yeah, no, I've been taking a lot of people off and putting them into email. So when you say that you like didn't have like a good like tracking and follow-up system, is it all Streak now? Or do you do like the notebook method?
So I have an app. Hang on, let me get my app. Let me get my laptop or my. So I do kind of partially digital planning, and then I take my digital planning and I transfer it to Google Streak. So let me see if I can get this. So here's like a blank one that I have. Just erase people's names. So this is what I use. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but it's just on GoodNotes. Can you see that at all?
No.
Crap, wait, shoot. I just basically have like on this app, I have a list of people who are ordering, and then I color code it, whether it's like Instagram, Facebook, or email. And then I put everything from here. I transfer this onto my Google Streak and do it that way. And then I keep track of my business activity trackers on here. This is like a business tracker for Success Club points, all my coaches signed, Emeralds Advanced, and Diamonds Advanced. I don't know if you can see that. The lighting's really bad, sorry. And then I also use, hang on, let me get out of here. It's not working. Crap. And then from there, I also have like a graphic just to make sure that I'm like staying active as Diamond, and like where my other girls are. That's just like,
yeah, so you kind of have like all that like planning and like documenting like at your fingertips, but you transfer anybody who like you're talking to and like what kind of phase they're into your streak.
Yeah, and then I have like different subgroups for like, hey, you sent a link. Hey, I have a share card out. Hey, they purchased. These are coaches. These are new coaches. These are like old coaches.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I love that. I'm like half good with Streak and half terrible with Streak. So Bonnie asked, how do you talk about like your coaching on Instagram? How you kind of said like, I needed to be sharing more than just like my workouts, my sweaty selfie. Like I really need to start talking about coaching. Any tips, tricks, what you do?
Well, I think the most important thing about coaching is you have to talk about the benefits. And I think if you want to, I've learned like if I want to attract people who want to hustle in this business and don't just want a quick fix, I have to show them the hustle. I have to show them the grind of like what goes in and day out. But then I also have to show them the benefits of this, you know, showing them that I'm hanging out with local girls who have now turned into some of my best friends, or showing, you know, just the extra like accountability, or talking about like why after a 12-hour day, I come home and I work my business. Why do I do that? You know, and it can be on my story, but I think a lot of times like posting things on your feed also, just about explaining like why you're doing this, how you got started, and like where you're going. Does that help, Bonnie?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
And I think like you can really like take that like good like caption, you know, for a physical post. So I know that your days are kind of, they vary, but kind of what does your schedule look like? And like when do you fit in coaching? How do you fit it in pockets of time? Like when do you do your invites? When do you do different activities?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying really hard to get up earlier. This is like with Morning Meltdown. I really am trying to get up earlier so I can do like my start today journal. I can do my workout. Then I usually work like between a 9 to like 12-hour shift. And then I'm coming home at night and I'm working for like 2 or 3 straight hours. Wednesdays are my earlier days. So those are heavier. So like, excuse me, on Tuesday nights, I come home straight from work. I have like 30 minutes for dinner. Then my team call. Then I have our Team Elevate team call. That night, I usually don't send invites unless I do a power hour like with my team. But so then on Wednesday, I'm doing a heavy invite day. And then on Fridays, I only work 3 hours. So Fridays are also like a ton of inviting, making content, that type of material, the follow-ups. And the follow-ups with Streak don't take long at all. You know, that's an easy, like quick email sent to however many people, and that's so user friendly. And then on Saturdays and Saturday mornings, I'm trying to get into a better routine of like making my boot camp stuff and making my images and having everything set for the week. And then Sunday, checking my downline, making sure everybody's active still. And if not, then like reaching out to those girls so that I can still, make sure that they're good to go by Thursday. But at work, I really can't. Instagram doesn't work at work, which I think they purposely did to us. I'm like, dang. But I try to do it in pockets of time at work, but with seeing kids back to back to back all day long, it makes it challenging. I'm sure like if you're a teacher, you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Marissa just said, do you talk about coaching and boot camps every day, or do you schedule when you talk about the coaching opportunity and the boot camp opportunity? So I'm assuming, because like, I don't know, for a lot of us on our team, like we schedule like, big boot camps push like the beginning and the end of each month. And then we talk about coaching heavily in the middle of the month. Do you like vary, or do you kind of do both?
So right now, I mean, everything was around the launch of MM100. But before that, I always ran my boot camps the first or the second Monday of the month, because that way I could send invites the month before to my boot camp, give people that first week of the month as prep week, the second week for like actual start. Because if I didn't hit Success Club for earlier in the month, then it kind of was like a safety net almost to like get me there, because I was inviting heavily that last week, and it either got me to Success Club or got me to at the end of the month or got me to Success Club the beginning of the month. And then as soon as I hit Success Club, I am continuing to send invites for the boot camp, but I switch gears and I'm coaching. Then I'm like only inviting to coaching. I tried the back and forth with like boot campers and challengers like in the same day. And for me, my brain just worked better. Like this week you are sending invites to your challenge group, and then you're switching gears and now you're only sending invites to the coaching opportunity once my boot camp started. And then at the beginning of every single month, I sit down and I do a monthly layout on my iPad for just like, this is when my boot camp's starting, this is prep week, and then this is when I'm going to do what I call a coach sneak peek. It's usually just like a 3-day coach sneak peek. Or I also will do, I'm thinking about doing a webinar and just doing like a 30-minute webinar about coaching. I haven't done that yet. I went from doing my coach sneak peek on Facebook groups to then Instagram. And now I'm trying to see if I want to do like a 30-minute like webinar or something for coaching.
Yeah, I saw that Ashley was doing like a webinar, because I've done Facebook then to Instagram, and I was thinking about going back to like a 1-day on Facebook to try that out. So I'd be very interested to hear how the webinar goes if you end up doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And it honestly is like a trial and error thing. I've had coach sneak peeks where I have a ton of people show up, and then I have coach sneak peeks where no one shows up. So it just kind of is like a trial and error, but you have to think about it. You have to do these coach sneak peeks every single month because it gets coaching out there more. But then if no one shows up, it's giving you the opportunity to practice and just get better and better. And then the next time people will show up and you'll be good to go. You'll be more confident because you already just did this coach sneak peek, even though nobody showed up. And there are top coaches in this network on Team Elevate who do coach sneak peeks and they get one person to show up. So just don't think because you're a new coach that it's happening to you. It's happening to other people too, who are higher up and who've been in this for a long time.
I love that. It's like, it just puts things into perspective because it's so easy to put people up on pedestals because of like what rank they are, how long they've been a coach. But like to hear that like reality, like it's not just because you're newer. It's not just because you're only an emerald or you're only a diamond. It's like, no, like you're an emerald, like you can do this. So that's a really good reality check. So when you have like your coaching sneak peek, and you transition and you said that you're kind of still inviting to your challenge group, but then you're doing like some cold, hard invites just to the coaching opportunity. What does that kind of look like?
My invite?
Yeah.
So a lot of times I will just reach out. So if they're following me on, or if they're like watching my stories, I try to be as normal as possible and just think about it as like, if I was to get this random message about what I'm doing, like how would I want to be messaged about this? And I'll just be like, hey, like I know that you've seen my stories. Do you have any questions about like coaching? I think that you'd be a perfect fit for this. I see that you're into like nutrition and working out already. Like I would love to give you more info and get you paid for like being on your health and fitness journey. Something just very basic like that.
Yeah, so simple. And I think it's also so helpful to even just like say it out loud, to talk it out loud, because like we get scripts from like everybody up in our upline, but if it doesn't sound like you, the person on the receiving end is really going to feel that. So even just like you just like spewing that, like I can see you just like typing that out and it just being so natural and just so you. So always like keep in mind, like say it out loud to somebody too. See if it sounds like you. That's brilliant.
I tried the I need to get better at this, but I tried like the voice memo way or messaging on Instagram, but then I would like stutter and be like, I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, bye. And then I would be like, I'm so sorry. That's not what I like. And then I would like, it was just a bad, she's a boot camper now, but I sent like, and I didn't know how to like unsend. It was like a hot mess, but you get better with practice. Like I was learning, so.
Right. With everything, you just have to learn as you go.
Like when I get messages all the time about like different network marketing things. And when people reach out to me and they're like, hey girl, I love your page. Like I saw your dog. I'm like, you don't know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. Other people like, are like, oh, you like my dog, but for me, I'm just like, I want to reach out to people the way that I want to be reached out to, because those people are most likely my people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think this is my final question. So unless you guys have any other ones that you want to drop in, but when you do like your hard inviting days or your heavy inviting days, do you have like a bare minimum that you are like, I have to invite X amount today? Like this is like my non-negotiable, or are you just like, let me see how many I can get through?
So I've done both. I've set like an alarm to see like how many I can do in like 20 minutes or an hour, whatever long it is. But usually I just do like two sides of a paper. I think it's like 66 people or something like that. And I just fill it up.
Yeah. That's
So,
perfect.
and I wish they would do like a statistic, because I'm such like a science like numbers person, but I want to see the ratio of like how many invites you send to like how many yeses you get, to see like what the actual number is. But I don't know, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, so like no matter how many invites you're saying, if you're inviting that person and it's their time to do this, like they're gonna say yes regardless of what your invite said, but you just have to send it.
Yeah. God, I love it. You provided like such like a good like mindset, and like your journey kind of like it's evolved in like the highs and the lows, because we all go through highs and lows, and how your why has changed and like your sacrifices change too. Like as your why changes, like I'm so like in that level of my business as well. And then just like kind of hearing how you run your business, this was so good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I
It was
think
awesome.
I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Oh, we got a last minute question. Do you track everyone that you invite, or only the people who answer you?
So I track everybody I invite on that sheet of paper. And then once I like get them like a response, then I will flag them in my inbox. Or if they say that they're interested, then I'll highlight them and then transfer them to like my app that I use on my iPad, and then to like my share card, or then to Streak.
Perfect.
And it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie, like the paper, there's probably a more efficient method out there, but right now, like where I am in my business, like writing everybody down on paper is like the most helpful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did do there are some days where I just like invite and don't write down, but then I'm like, I don't know how many people I actually invited, and it just kind of like feels out of control to me. So I really like to just have that list and to like look back and see who I actually like invited. So Jojo, I use an app called GoodNotes on my iPad, and then I just downloaded and made some graphics on Canva off of Etsy, and I just like track my my business using those apps and using those pictures and those graphics. And that's been a huge like organization piece to my business.
I like see you guys all using your iPads, and it makes me want to get an iPad just because I'm more like a techie person rather than like a pen and paper person. So
I do have to say I love it, but sometimes I get like too into the color coding, and then I'm like, focus on what you're doing. Like leave the colors alone.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
the teacher, like education side of me.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording, and I always take a little boom